All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode, as you can tell by the title, is all about your firewood basics and the tools you're going to need, and some of the tips and tricks I found along the way to make life a little bit easier whenever we're out in the wood lot trying to get stuff to keep ourselves warm for the winter. Winter time's finally set in upon us here about the third week of January here, coming into it. It's starting to get a little cold. Looks like it's finally going to stay cold, so about probably high time for most people to go out and try and gather stuff up here, try to look for cheaper ways to heat their homes and garages and other places. So here we go. Start off with basics. Everyone wants to know about chainsaws. So here's the saw I have. It's a Stihl MS261CM. This is the Mtronic version. It's at the electronically controlled carburetor. Not quite EFI, but pretty close to it. And I've had this saw for about 4 years now. I never once have I had to really adjust the carburetor, keep the air cleaner clean, keep good gas running through it. It's never let me down through I've been out in about 10-degree weather. I've been down below zero. I've been out in 30s, 40s, 50s, and even in the summertime, getting up in the 90s and up in the 100s in really humid weather. It's always started. It's never let me down. It's always ran. With that, I've got 3 different size bars. I have 16-inch bars sitting here on our little makeshift table here on top of my trailer. 18-inch bars on it, and I have a 20-inch bar as well. It really pulls through about any wood I put on it with either size bar. It cuts real fast with a 16. I leave the 18 on for most of my stuff. You can see that's the one that's mostly been worn down the most. It's almost time for a new bar. It's getting kind of thin up here. But the 20 served me pretty good for some of the larger trees. But I got the Pro Saw. It went a lot of back and forth on this one. I had an old yellow and black little homeowner saw I got down at the local store here. It was a Poulan Pro 20-inch. Even though it says Pro, it definitely was not a Pro saw. I wore that thing out in about a season, and it always quits whenever you don't want them to. And I had to go out and get this one, but I've already done the research on it anyhow. So, but I got the Pro Saw based on the amount of cutting I was going to be doing. I got a piece of property and started getting ready to clear for a house, and I show you some screenshots. The property looked like this about 4 years ago. It was all trees. And through the years, it took me about 2.5 to 3 years to get it looking like this, ready for a house. But here's a house on the lot now. That being said, there was a lot of cutting and a lot of work to get done, but it saved me a lot of money doing it myself. You know, a lot of machine rentals and a lot of trusty 4-wheeler action with the saw here. Got it all prepped. But that's getting off topic here. Back to firewood. This is a great saw for firewooding. It's nice and light. It's got lots of power. It's not going to wear you out. There's the basic tools you always take with you when you're out here. It's basically a parch cleaner, brush, really stiff bristles on there, and get in there and get out a lot of the little sawdust and saw chips that mix in with the bar oil. The scrunch, it comes with these things stock. The scrunch for a screwdriver with a wrench. I drilled a little hole here in the tip of it and put a little 550 cord through there with a little keeper knot. Keep all this stuff with me so we don't lose track of it. So I got the bright fluorescent green on there. Nice, easy, keeping along. I got the 5-in-1 painter scraper. I use this tip here to get down inside a lot of oil ways and oil galleys on the bars. And get down in here and channel the bar. Just kind of scrape this along. And get all the gunk out whenever you go to change your chain if you need to. Keeps your chain from wearing out, keeps sprockets from wearing out, keeps the dirt in it, keeps the oil flowing through where it's supposed to. It's good stuff to have. As far as bars go, like I said, I got 16, 18, and a 20. Stihl's got a nice little color coding system if you're unfamiliar with saws, so you can match up the appropriate blades and chains with your bars. So they got green for the low kickback and the safer bars. You match them up to the bar with the chain there. I run the yellows on there too. These cut a little bit faster, but they're a little higher chance of a kickback on them. Going on with chains here, this little 3-in-1 Stihl file system they have here. It works really, really awesome. I've been terrible at knowing the proper angles and how many strokes per tooth to get these things done. This makes it a lot easier. With the angle cuts here on the plastic, gives you a guide to eyeball on, which a bar to get the right angles to keep the blade sharp. The center section here keeps your depth gauges cut down, and it's got 2 little round files go in there for your cutting teeth. Really, really easy to use. As far as once a tree is down and on the ground, bucking it down to size, I've seen all kind of things online about, firewood gauges and little extended things and fiberglass tips, and they all cost like 25, 30, even I'm up in $40. I decided I didn't want to spend that much money, and I made my own right here. These are little magnet, little refrigerator hooks you find at any dollar store, hardware store, whatever. But I've straightened that hook out and made it straight, and that's some plastic tubing I cut out. So this one here is marked for 16 inches up there, and I put some electrical heat shrink on the outside to make it a little more higher visibility than a black tube on all the dirt. You can cut it to whatever length you want to. It makes it pretty easy. All you do is stick it on the end of your bar like that, and then line it. You make your initial cut, from where you base it off of here on the end, up from the butt of your log. Just make a little notch in it. Line this up to that notch, the next one down, take it off, and then cut your logs all down to size. And keeps your log piles nice and neat. All right, so that about covers using a saw. If you're out there cutting rain length of time, or if you have been out there cutting rain length of time, you know that saws tend to get stuck and you can get bound up in trees. So if you don't have a backup saw to use, it's always good to have a nice axe to kind of help pry you out of these things, or at least chop the wood out and get it out of there. This is made by Eastwing. It's just like their hammers. Got a nice solid steel construction all the way down to the blue rubber handle. It's excellent weighted. It's balanced just perfect. Keeps a really good edge, and it's one. It served me just about as good as this saw has here. So good trusty axe is good to come by. Good to keep with you. As far as picking, so once everything is all cut, when you go to pick everything up, instead of bending over repeatedly, over and over and over again, wearing yourself out, this here is a pickaroon. This is a Forester brand. I got it at one of the local stores. Let's see, it's got a nice little, almost like a Talon hook on the end of it there. But this is awesome to just sit there, standing up, and just kind of, swing it down, stick it in the end of the log, pick them up, throw them in the trailer. It makes picking up wood a lot easier, a lot quicker. Saves some time, saves a little bit of effort. It's good to have. So that covers all of our extra hand tools. So that's it for saws. And getting out in the woods and using power tools, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, PPE and using your protective gear. Always get a good set of gloves, actual leather gloves. They're more puncture resistant, more cut resistant than anything else. So you don't get splinters in your hands, and when you're working with the sharp edges on a chain, you're not going to cut your fingers up. You're not going to get pinches from using your sharpener, your files, and whatnot. So get a good set of real leather gloves. Goat skin, calf skin, deer skin gloves. Those are all nice soft leather. You don't have to worry about breaking them in too much. And glasses. So there's all kind of safety glasses out there, but it's highly recommended. These are sunglasses, safety rated. I think these are, those are actually steel branded too. Got those as a gift. And just regular safety glasses, you can buy these anywhere. I got these over at one of the local big box stores. Got a bunch of them. They're nice and comfy, nice flexible. They're not going to tear up. You can easy to wear these underneath the muffs. They're not going to be pushing in on your temples. Speaking of muffs, here's right into these. I got the 3M Work Tunes. They're Bluetooth. You can listen to radio or listen to your phone whenever you got phone calls coming in. If you need to be out somewhere, they need to be tied to your phone. Those are good to have. I typically don't use those when I'm running a chainsaw, just because I'd rather just hear my saw running than to see if there's anything that's going on with the saw, rather than needing to listen to music. I just use foamies or another inside ear plugs for those. I generally use those when I'm cutting grass on the zero turn or whatnot. Before you get down to firewood, without cutting trees, obviously, whenever I got started, I used to think people that use wedges just didn't know how to cut a tree down the right way. And then I learned the right way to use wedges. If you do go out and get you some of the plastic ones. Don't use metal, because you can see like this one here. If you tip your saw in the plastic ones, it'll just cut these up. It's not going to hurt your blade at all. So you get in metal, your blade and your chains are shot. So use the plastic ones. They're relatively cheap. I think these come in a pack of 3, and I think they were $12 or $14, something like that. Come different sizes too. These were the big ones. I got some smaller ones here too. You can double them up if you need to when you get in a tree. I can show you a video later on. I haven't really got to that point just yet to making videos, but I show you how I use the wedges, proper way to, what I've learned anyhow. I'm by no means a professional tree cutter, arborist, forester, but I've seen lots of videos. I did a lot of my own research, found the best way to do it, combined with a bunch of different people's methods, and that's how I use them. But using wedges, it's a lifesaver. You can keep your eyes on a tree, see how it goes. And it's the best way to put trees where you want them, is using wedges. Make your front edge, your notch cut, your hinge, come in your back cut, and while your saw is still in there, put the wedges in and push your tree over with the wedges. That's good. All right, I'll show you the four-wheeler I've been using. It's a 2007 model. It's a Honda 450, or I'm sorry, Foreman 500, not a 450. I use that on my little wood trailer right here. That trailer and that four-wheeler, are all I use to get this all cleared off my house. So it's served its purpose. It serves me well. It continues to do so. I got a plow set up for it too, for the driveway. So it's always good to have a four-wheeler around whenever you're working on a bunch of property like we have here. So just to recap, chainsaw, based on your needs. Not everyone needs a pro saw. I chose one because with the amount of cutting I was going to be doing, I was using it pretty regularly. Their Steel's line of homeowner saws are perfect for just the normal people just going out cutting up small trees, or just blowdowns, storm blowdowns. Those are easy to use for the homeowner saws. But if you're doing any length of cutting, if you're heavy into firewood, have a small firewood business, I would definitely recommend getting into the pro saw. But for general people, one of the homeowner saws, the wood bosses, farm boss, stuff like that, those would be just fine for anybody. But that's what I got there. Get yourself a decent trailer, and you don't need one, but it sure does make things a lot easier when you're hauling stuff around. If you're out there cutting, be safe. Have an idea what you're doing, what you're getting into. Make sure you do your prep work if you're getting into firewooding. But this is my setup. 261 cm. I generally run an 18-inch bar. Make sure you get your file system. You have your tools with you. Have a nice four-wheeler. Have a nice trailer. Get it all back in. Stack it up nice. And happy firewooding, and keep yourself warm this winter.